Let's get started.
Yes.
This is Dale's calendar.
Welcome, everybody. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. Anybody have any additions to the agenda tonight?
Did you want to move that item?
I do want to move that in.
Nobody to move that?
Absolutely, I'd love you to.
Mr. Chair, I move that we move the first item on the agenda, the town clerk, Tim Arsenal personnel, to the last item on the agenda. Before adjournment.
Yep.
Second.
Second. Moved and seconded to move the town clerk personnel issue to the last of the meeting. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, move that to the end. And you don't make that motion for me? Don't mind the artwork.
Yeah, I like the artwork. Mr. Chairman, I move that we remove the library from department and committee reports.
A second?
Second?
Okay.
Or the discussion anyway.
The discussion was supposed to be about a carryover request, and we are removing that carryover request from the agenda per the library's instruction.
Very good.
So, moved and seconded to remove the library carryover requests. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I
Okay, so
refuse.
remove the library, one recusal.
You know, I hate to say this, but the first thing that you said, or when I first heard her read that, I thought, oh, they're not gonna be allowed to carry over anything anymore? Never mind, it was obviously a misunderstanding on
Oh
my part.
my,
If
if only
only.
there was something to carry
Yeah.
over.
Okay,
I would be
we
delighted.
all wish that there was something to carry over.
Absolutely. I have no remarks tonight. We have no guests in the house, I don't believe. Open public comment?
You're not a guest?
You're on the agenda,
he's
you're
not
not
a
a guest. You're not a guest. Open public comments, non-agenda items. No. Okay. Department committee, EOC carryover request. Come on up, Dave.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to come. I'm here to ask if you would be willing to carry over some of the appropriation that we've had left over from the expenditures from the EOC. And the reason that they're left over is because Michelle was successful in the $15,000 grant from the state, so we use that for the majority of everything. However, at this point, as of this morning, there's $12,110.25 left in that appropriation out of a $15,000 start. So the reason that we need to carry that over, as you know, are probably going to have to move the EOC. And I feel like I'm kind of floundering here, but I'm floundering because we haven't got any answers from Vermont Yankee as to what's going to happen with the property that we're in right now. And obviously they can't answer it because they don't know what's going to happen with the sale. So with that, and my conversation with Michelle today, it's probably wise for us just to move forward and make it happen, because likely the house is not going to be available to us, the Edson house. So having said that, to move stuff, there's two locations in Vernon that would be appropriate, and one was the old, the firehouse where it used to be, or move it here. And we have done some preliminary stuff, and the lion's share of the cost to move is going to be the radios and the antennas and stuff like that. So other than that, we have everything that we need. We just need the site. The fire station may approve, but it would appear that's going to take more money for renovations to make it work. However, I'm not going to rule it out right now, but if we don't have the money, then obviously none of it will take place. So that's where I'm at, and also with the same, Michelle and I are attending a meeting with the state next week for another appropriation for $15,000 for this coming year, so. And we've been led to believe that with all the work she put into the last one, it'll be much easier this year. We'll see. So that's where we're at. I'll certainly entertain any questions that you may have.
The only question I had was my understanding of you're talking the cellar in the Vernon Fire Station?
Correct.
Was that it was pretty, I mean, I had understood that it was really not convertible to useful space. That has changed, has it?
Well, the answer is no, but
it's still the dripping ceilings and all that
air
stuff, yeah.
handlers and
Yeah,
a whole bunch
yeah,
of work to do that.
yeah.
However, they did in addition, that I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't part with right now unless I threatened them with something.
I see.
But they did in addition that could be, but unlikely.
Yeah.
So the most logical place at this point is going to try to work something out here
Sure.
in this facility,
Sure.
downstairs.
Yes.
Plenty of room.
Well, Mr. Chair, I move that we allow the emergency management to carry over $12,110.25.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any further questions, comments, concerns?
How much space do you think you need? Because you've got a whole house now, so.
We do. Well, the funny thing is, we only need space for me, unless there's an emergency, and then it gets to be a larger group. It's a group of it used to be a group of 12, and now it's probably be a group of 7 to 8 people, with radios and everything, and telephone setups, and so that's where the cost would be to have that redundant stuff put down here at some location.
The hookups they had in the senior room, because it's set for that.
Elmhurst room.
Elmhurst room. Is that still viable to use?
Well, we talked about that today, and that may be, we don't know if they're still plugged in or whether they have been discarded, and so we would have to bring somebody in to see if they are. But that is a spot that we talked about for having at least parts of the EOC. Some of it has to be secure, obviously,
Yeah.
and then some of it can be set up during the emergency.
There is certainly plenty of room to expand here during an emergency. The location itself, I mean, the only negative impact I can see is given where you have the train line right outside the door here.
Yeah.
On the other hand, this is a fairly straight stretch, so probably less likely to have an issue with an accident.
Except for the crossing.
The
Crossing
yeah.
raises the bar.
The crossing does raise the bar, but in that kind of accident, probably if there was a truck they hit or something, wouldn't probably derail a whole lot of cars, hopefully.
It's funny, that crossing during training for years and years and years was always the one they used as an example, the Miller Crossing.
Really.
And during our exercises, it was pretty sure that somewhere along that 2-day exercise, you're gonna find a crash at Miller Crossing. And of course, they raised that bar by what they crashed into, they always use some.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So that would be an issue, but I think even the fire station would be an issue because the tracks
Oh,
are.
exactly. That's more of an issue, in my opinion, because of what the tracks do there.
Yeah.
That's quite a curvy section of rail.
And we always have the option to set up in Guilford if
And that
wherever
could be
we
the
need to go
fallback, Sure.
is
Right.
not feasible. We
That's
can
right.
probably go for
Exactly,
Firehouse.
yeah.
They've always been welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guilford Firehouse is the secondary to, if we had to leave town even.
Sure, sure.
And that's set up there. And they actually exercised that a few years ago where they went over there and did that.
Very good.
Yeah, I remember that. I talked to you on the phone a handful of times.
You did. We
Well, I
had
think it's good
great
to
conversation.
I think it's good to be prepared for, you know, whatever might happen, and spending this money up front is probably gonna be a useful thing later
so
on,
too.
whichever way we end up.
All right. So we got a motion, we got a second. We got any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the EOC rollover of $12,110.25, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? You got your carryover.
Thank you, folks. Do you have any other questions for me other than that, or anything on your mind that, something you always wanted to know and didn't dare to ask? Okay, thank you.
David.
Thanks.
Take care.
Approval of regular meeting minutes from June 20th.
Mr. Chairman, I
Hello.
move we accept the minutes as printed.
A second. Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from June 20th as written. Anybody see anything different? Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, approved as written. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have the following warrants and payroll accounts for payment approval by the Select Board. And please keep in mind, these are, the accounts payable are in 2 blocks this time because of the changeover from the past fiscal year to the current one. 25T, which is the last part of June, accounts payable in the amount of $28,143.96, which is the end of the fiscal year. The second accounts payable in the amount of, that's 1T, in the amount of $157,859.57. And then 2 payroll warrants, 25S, which is in the amount of $8,591.11. And finally, payroll warrant 26S in the amount of $14,746.50.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving warrants as read, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? CDL policy. You have a sample policy within your packet.
And I gave you all a new one, because Dave was in my office this afternoon and requested additional changes.
The new one is not in the flip.
It's in the.
It's this that was on your table.
Yep.
So can I just point out some impacts that this is probably gonna have that we should probably consider on the town that we don't have now? The way that this policy is written does have an expense to the town, because right now the town does not pay for license renewals. So, right now a CDL for 5 years is about $170 per person. There's 3 drivers that have that right now. And the thought was that the bus and van driver licenses were a little cheaper, but I didn't get an exact price of that this afternoon. So those costs are not being borne by the town at this point, and neither is the cost of the physicals. That's also in this policy. Also, what we would do after this policy is finalized is really go immediately and update the drug and alcohol policy. So that reflects everything, so that we don't have to write everything out in the CDL policy. And we could just refer directly to that.
Steve?
I don't have any comments at this point. I'm supportive of the process.
So if the town reimburses an employee or pays for the CDL, $170 is good for 5 years. What if the employee does not stay for 5 years? Should they not reimburse the town for? Well, I
That's
don't,
something you would have to decide.
Amy?
It's up to you.
In the past, we tried to collect things that people agreed to read.
don't get it.
Yeah.
But they don't have to renew for 5 years. I mean, I don't know what the
You can do a yearly renewal.
cost difference is. I mean, in the end, you may pay more, but if you only allowed it yearly, you know, an amount once a year for your license, then you have a little bit more control over that.
That's true. I guess this has given the town the stability, at least of the town highway department. Certainly been a long-running institution there. Yeah, maybe that will change, I don't know, can't imagine.
I don't wanna pay for a 5-year license, I'm okay with paying a 1-year license, and if they stay with us for the rest of their lives, they're getting it paid anyway.
That's right.
So
yeah.
what difference does it make?
No, you're
Really,
right.
you know,
I don't know.
But if they leave after 2 years, then they're on their own.
I mean, there's
But
probably
we're gonna
a
pay it
little,
regardless.
yeah,
You might save
right,
$10,
probably not much.
but by allowing them to do a 5-year. But I like the 1-year idea much better.
Yeah, I think I do too.
So,
1-year renewal, 1-year license renewal.
so the town will reimburse the employee for any renewal license required, so,
Any
We have-
1-year renewal
yeah.
license required. Or new license, if it's a new employee.
Well, so the initial license, it would be on the town, or?
No, it says
Here
at
it
their
says
own
it's at their own
expense.
expense.
Number 2.
Oh, gotcha. No shifts from somewhere else. Yep.
Should we not update the drug and alcohol at the same time we accept this?
That's up to you. We have a drug and alcohol policy in place that's absolutely valid. There are some changes and updates and more specifics that we can get into with it, which we should probably delve into, but
Is there anything that conflicts with?
there's nothing that conflicts with this.
Okay.
I would ask though that you let me make sure all of the licenses we have in place are renewable for a year before you approve. If you'd like that amendment on here, I'd like to
Yeah.
go back and check to make.
I understand that, I think Josh's point is a good one in terms of doing it annually. I don't know what kind of, that probably costs more, but in the long run, you know, over a 5-year thing, but I don't know.
Well,
I know getting your registration for your vehicle, what are you saving, like, when you go to a 2-year,
It's not
you're
much.
saving like $2 or something, it's not,
You just don't have to do it every year,
Yeah.
well, that's true.
but if the employee is renewing it and they choose to renew it for 5 years, we just reimburse them
For the year
1/5
expense.
of that each
Yeah,
year.
Sure.
Fun?
Oh, I see, that's a very good idea,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't think of that. That's
So we're gonna
a,
reimburse them.
that's a good idea, I didn't think of it that way. I
That's
thought it was
insane.
like a 1-year license or
Yeah,
something.
I do too, first one.
Good, like that idea.
So we wanna table this, cause that seems to be the only change
I think that's wise.
to the policy,
Yeah.
and we'll table
So
it
we
until Michelle confirms with
Right.
everybody
Uh-huh.
about license lengths and all that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
the first draft we got had under C, all those situations listed, is that gone because it's actually in the other policy?
It's because I thought it was prudent, I put that in because Dave Walker kind of wanted more specifics on the drug policy in this policy. However, I think it's safer so that we refer directly to the town drug and alcohol policy, and you can change either one independently, and they won't conflict.
Yep.
So if we don't, and this is, the first draft was really just headings from the drug and alcohol policy, that's all it was.
Okay.
So, because I don't know, if you hired Josh under this, and then we change it next year, is he still protected under this one? Or does he automatically go to the next one?
The drug and alcohol policy,
Uh-huh.
he would go to the next one because it's not this, it's the current. So they can change independently of each other.
Thank you.
That's why I took all the headings out.
Anybody else have any questions regarding that? Okay, so we just make that correction to a 1-year renewal, pending how our licenses are set up with our employees.
And even if the minimum is 2 years, like you said, just
Yeah.
reimburse for a 1-year
Yeah,
amount or
Each year.
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
so if you stay here for 2 years, then you get the thing. You don't, what the?
Mhm. The amendments to the town plan, which I know Gina and I were at that meeting, so we kind of understand what it is.
Is Martin coming for that? Yeah. Is Martin
The
coming?
explanation of it?
No, because he was here already.
Yeah, he did talk to us about it.
Is this supposed to be the select board hearing on changes to the,
Yes, and there were no
Plan,
changes
comp plan.
made at the planning commission public hearing, but since you are scheduled to have a select board public hearing on August 1st, it was probably good to get it on the agenda, so if there were changes you wanted to make before it went to the public hearing, you'd have that opportunity. But nothing has changed.
So has anybody got any questions on that, the village center, the flood resilience, or anything? We got a nice little colorful map that gives you an outline of the village center. You guys both know about it, because you're on the planning commission anyway. So I think we can move on to our domestic animal ordinance.
No, you would accept that.
This is just to see if anybody has any changes, because then we have to go through the process of public hearings and such.
Did you find anything, Sandy?
After we're happy
I'm not
with it.
kidding, you're good at that.
I didn't have a chance to go over it, so I trust you.
I'm just gonna get all excited.
It was perfect.
I didn't find any.
I skimmed it, but I didn't study it,
Oh.
because I knew you'd be great.
What I did notice when I was looking through the town policies is that adoption of this policy will negate the handling, it's another policy that you all have.
Sure.
It's the handling of injured cats, unlicensed dogs, and small animals, it's included in here. So you may want to rescind this policy altogether, this ordinance.
Yeah, it's only been in since 1998, so.
It's a 4-for-1 policy. That should make everyone happy. We have less ordinances now because of this.
That's right. Consolidation.
Beautiful. Anybody got anything on that? Is everybody pretty happy?
I find it, I haven't
Everything.
heard, other than some of the input we had at our last meeting, I haven't heard anything negative about this now.
Not
On the other hand, you know, probably have to mention that I haven't heard anything positive either, so. I mean, other than, of course, my own input to it, which is, I think it's a very good idea. But, I mean, I don't know about you all, but I haven't, no one's come beating on my door to tell me how wonderful the new animal ordinance policy is.
I've heard nothing.
Okay.
If they come beating on your door about anything else?
Yeah, actually, yes, yeah, I've had a few conversations. They know where I live.
Okay, I think we're,
We don't have any vicious dogs that run around outside either, so I'm just worried about scaring them off.
I think we're good with that. We need to start the process of doing, our public hearings and such. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Yes.
So we are going to have a hearing on this particular ordinance.
Okay, so we need to approve it.
You would adopt it first, and that's when the approvals would
Then
happen.
you, right, it's approval and then pending
Yeah,
public
hearings.
input, right.
That sets the clock.
So I move that we approve it as of this date.
Second.
Okay, and a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the domestic animal ordinance pending public hearing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, done.
So when do we get rid of that?
I would, you could do it now.
Second.
What's that,
The old
handling of
handling.
cats?
I move that we rescind the handling of injured cats, unlicensed dogs, and small animals, policy number Gen-3.
Second.
Okay, and we have a movement and a second to get rid of the handling of injured cats, unlicensed dog, and small animals ordinance. Do we have any further discussion on that?
No.
Okay. All those in favor of, what was the number on the policy?
Gen-3.
Gen-3, eliminating the Gen-3 policy on handling of injured cats, unlicensed dogs, and small animal ordinance. Please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? We no longer have a handling of injured cats, unlicensed dogs, or small animal ordinance. Thank you.
I'll get a copy without the word draft to you all to sign
We got,
for the adoption.
executive session, please, for
Um,
personnel.
Mr. Chair, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Same as we did before. Okay. I move that we go into executive session with our town administrator on the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, 1 VSA 313 3A3.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are in executive session. We went into executive session at 6:58, back out at 7:02. No action was taken. We move on. Public participation, any? No? Very good. Correspondence?
Correspondence, okay. Amy Mallory wrote a letter to the town office asking us to put deer crossing and turkey crossing signs on Route 142. Amy Mallory is a grown woman, in case anybody's wondering. Would you like me to respond to her?
Well, isn't that a state road that we don't have
It
that
is,
say
It's
on?
but I
We
would,
cannot
I
do
would
that.
write her a letter and I could forward this information over to V-Trans for them to.
Yes.
Do it.
Okay.
Send a letter to V-Trans. Because I do agree there should be something in a couple of different spots on 142.
Do you want me to send a letter to V-Trans or just forward this to them?
Please don't forward that to them. Can you send a letter on the behalf of the town?
Maybe on business station.
Give a
Yes.
suggestion that, 142 has seen an increase in wildlife crossings, and which is 100% the case. And we feel it was necessary to improve the signage along the road.
Do you want that signed by the select board or me?
You can sign it.
Okay.
Everybody's good with that?
Yes.
I'm not just
Sounds like
making
it.
this stuff up on my own here. Okay.
Right
Did they
behind
ask like a specific area, or, I mean, are they gonna,
You
think they
drive
have to do
through
the whole
first and
stretch,
we'll-
or?
I think the majority of the issue lies right at the power lines on 142,
Yeah.
right before you get to Sir Sosimo's mulch plant.
Have we had any recorded accidents down through that recently, or no? Do we know that, whether there's?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because that would be a good
Somebody-
piece of information to pass on to V-Trans. I don't know
Yeah.
whether they keep track of it or not.
Somebody put up a homemade sign there last year and it was promptly taken down by the state
Probably,
within,
yeah.
you know, a month or
Yeah.
so.
That is a favorite spot for them to cross.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, turkeys right there, deer right there.
Yeah. You
I've
get
seen a couple
turkey,
bear
I
out there.
tell you.
So,
I know what that's like.
but, yeah,
I haven't hit a bear yet, thank God.
there's been one at the field there.
Okay, the Public Service Board has notified us of the proposed changes to the telecommunications standards and procedures. I did go through this, I have it here in case anybody wants to look at it. It's mostly timing, so how many days do they have to notify people, and which is longer than it used to be. It was 30 days, they've increased it to 60 days. Some response was, down to 2 days, so it's actually gotten stricter. So if anybody wants to review that. The NRC notified us of a violation that did occur at Vermont Yankee between January and September of 2016 involving daily source checks of personal contamination monitors. And it was determined to be of mild significance, but if anybody wants more details, I will copy any of this. It's just a huge stack of paper to make you guys go through. FERC has determined that First Light, I mean, if you recall the last few meetings, there was the nuclear, or the NEC was asking, New England Coalition was asking for modifications to the studies for First Light, and FERC has said that they do not feel the studies need to be modified, that they have the information that they need, and they've done that over a course of, a number of correspondence pieces. And then we also received the application materials that Entergy submitted to ask the PSB to deny NEC's request for further processing or hearing on their reducing their protected area. So it's just I'm asking them not to do it. Okay, that is the correspondence, aside from others I will go on.
No media, town admin report.
Okay, really quickly, the public land records computer has been upgraded and billed to the restoration fund. So we were able to get another computer in that upgrade project this year. So right now, only 2 computers in the town office need to be upgraded, which includes the assistant town clerks and mine. Other than that, they're all done. Cindy will be on vacation from July 10th to July 20th. The treasurer's office will be open 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there will be signs put up, and hopefully we'll get that information out to everybody. VLCT is inviting all governing board members and municipal employees to their golf outing on the August 23rd in Killington. It's a 4-person scramble with a $50 entry fee. Please let me know if any of you all or any boards or commissions in town are interested in doing together, of course. The Friends of Vernon Center will have their next meeting on July 13th. I got that information after your agendas went out, so it's not on there. It's at 6:30 down here in the lower level of the office building, the town office building. And the Wyndham Regional Commission is asking us, asking really the Planning Commission, whether we're interested in applying for the municipal planning grant again this year. So start thinking about if you can think of planning projects that we might have, just forward those along to the Planning Commission, because that's probably where that process should begin. But I wanted to let you know that we did receive that request. And last meeting, you had signed the Grants and Aid Pilot Project, our interest in participating in that. And from what it looks like, we got the grant, and we're gonna receive $2,500 to make a hydraulically connected road up to current standards. That just means there's some sort of water involved. We don't have much of it in Vernon. So Dave is gonna work with Wyndham Regional Commission to complete that project. It's not a lot, it's only $500 matching for $2,500. So, and those are the town administrator.
Okay, upcoming meetings, next regular select board meeting, Tuesday, July 18th, 6:30. Same bad time, same bad channel. Open meeting law training, Brattleboro location is TBD, will be Wednesday, the 26th at 6 PM. Is that a set date now, or is that still?
No, she hasn't responded to me
Well,
because we have about a dozen people, so she's really looking for a space to see if she can accommodate.
Can we just do it here?
We can, but he asked that we work with Brattleboro because he's already scheduled that, and it's unfortunate that we didn't have a chance to do that before they scheduled their.
Well, they can't get their stuff together, so we can, and just come here.
Right, but he was asking so they didn't have to come down twice.
Come
So
down twice.
if we can't hook into Brattleboro's training, I will call him and we'll just start from
Well,
scratch.
they can't even do Brattleboro's training here, if they're having a hard time finding a place to do it, which kinda seems like they are. Just everybody come
They
here.
don't have a problem finding a place to do it.
Well, why is it
It's
TBD?
accommodating our bunch of people at the same
Uh,
time. So they have a place, just
You
not.
can come back down for us. We're important.
I
Sit
will,
out in the hallway.
I will keep working with them for the
Thank you.
next 3 days or so, and if we can't narrow something definite down, we'll start rescheduling.
Good. Select board public hearing on the town plan amendments, Tuesday, August 1st, 6 PM. That's gonna be here?
That'll be right here, right
Okay.
before the regular meeting. Yeah.
6 o'clock.
So the public notice for that will go out in the paper this weekend.
Oh, and we need, or we're gonna move the August 15th meeting. And this is just a FYI, we'll get everything out, to the 22nd. If everybody is good with that. That's the following, so it will be the first and the fourth Tuesdays, cause there's 5 Tuesdays in that month. Instead of the first and the third.
Do you want a motion on that, or?
Let's make sure everybody's okay with that.
Perfect, because I'm gone the week before.
So am I.
Actually, part of the week, yeah.
Yeah, so am I, that's why I remember it.
Cool. Motion.
Sure.
I move that we hold the August, the mid-August Select Board meeting on August 22nd, 2017, here in the Select Board meeting room starting at 6:30.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of moving the August 15th meeting to August 22nd, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Moves to August 22nd.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
We're done.